It's time for Restore the Floor, your Detroit Pistons / NBA podcast. I'm Stoney, along with Mr. Restore the Floor himself, Evan Jenkins. He's got the little R for restore on his lapel there.
Thank you, Mr. John Jansen, for letting me wear your, what is this, Ring of Honor, Washington Redskins?
Yes. But
it was the Redskins.
It's R for restore.
That's right. And it fits me very well, as you can tell.
Yes.
Me and John, same size.
Exactly. All right, Ev, since we spoke last, the Pistons have not won another basketball game.
No, but they won or they lost gracefully.
Yes, well.
Isaiah Livers was involved in another tip-in.
Yes. Well, not Monday night. They got blown out by Milwaukee at home. Well, somewhat of a blowout, but Giannis didn't play. No, Giannis did play, did he? I don't remember.
No, Giannis didn't, but Middleton did.
Middleton did, yeah. Well, Holiday didn't play either. He was saving up for his, 50 burger the
next night.
How does that happen?
Kid's good, man.
I know. He's really good. All right. Pistons, as we speak, are 1-18 in their last 19 games.
Hey, we got that one.
Yeah.
God, you would think, teams just fall into wins.
Yeah. They had their chance. They had Oklahoma City on the road. Granted, SGA didn't play.
No, but they still have a very young core.
They're at least battling for a playoff spot.
They have 2 J-Dubs on the squad, which I love.
Exactly.
And one of them made the winning shot.
Yeah.
Listen, we wanted them to lose. I don't know if we wanted them to lose like this. And
no.
I don't know if this is historic fashion that they're losing, but they're doing their damn just to get that top overall pick. I'll tell you what. But look who they're putting out there still, Stoney.
Right.
It's Jaden and the Misfits. You got the bigs, which I thought our conversation with John Beeline last week was really good, talking about the bigs, how, they used to have 2 bigs on the floor, and the Pistons, maybe they can see that fit and work. But
we know when Troy Weaver said, a couple months ago, they want to be big to compete in the East.
Right.
Because the East is more of a bigger, Embiid and Giannis. And
okay, so just because you mentioned Embiid, what did you think about him sitting out that game against Jokic? You're a Philly fan.
I thought it was all right. To me, it's not that big of a deal. I don't think they were doing it because, he's scared he's going to lose the MVP if he gets, to me, it's all about winning.
Sure.
In the playoffs.
And that's also the NBA that we live with today, that players take a lot of nights off. They just do. I just want to ask a question about the MVP award, because I saw, and I forget who it was, so forgive me, but thinking that the players need to play a certain amount of games to achieve that award. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. Because
do you?
100%. I think you should have to play 75 games or whatever the percentage is to get you there.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you might be important in your team for 60 games, but if a guy does that for 75 games, I feel he is more valuable to his team.
And there are certain circumstances where there are legitimate injuries. It's not all load management.
And I understand that, but I'm saying if you played one day, sat out one, then played the next, that's not a legitimate injury.
Correct. I totally agree with you.
So I'm just glad that we could talk about that, because that was a big thing that Jokic and Embiid were going to play.
National televised game, right?
Yeah, and I just feel like you want the NBA superstars out there when they're playing against each other. But yet again, this is old man yelling at clouds, and baseball's back this week, so I've been doing it all week. So
anyway, back to the Pistons. They take on the Houston Rockets. And there was a very interesting article in The Athletic by the Pistons athletic writer, James Edwards. And James, I'm not Buddha Edwards, as I like to call him. And the Houston Rockets athletic beat writer, who I forget his name. And they're to compare the 2 rebuilds.
So, okay, I didn't read this, but they're going to be compared because of Jalen Green and Cade Cunningham, right? Being 1-2 in that draft 2 years ago.
Right.
And
Jabari Smith, they had a higher pick than
Jabari against Jaden. But, it's going to come down to Cade and Jalen Green, right? Mm-hmm. Because there was little debate, but there was some debate about who should go 1. And right now, as we sit here on March 30th of the year 2023, Jalen Green's probably the better player. Only because he's played.
He's played, right. And he's an offensive machine as far as scoring. He's a scoring machine. He's averaging 22 a game. He only shoots 41% from the field. And in, talking about where he is, the writer was saying, look, he still is really good offensively at times. but he's so clueless defensively, leadership, that type of stuff.
Oh, he's still
he's
super young with
exactly
no experience with that, really.
Right. And Jabari Smith got off to a pretty slow start because of, and I think he was still butthurt from not being the #1 pick.
Well, it happened quick.
Yeah.
I mean, it was supposed to be him all draft process, and then bam, pow.
He was third.
Yeah,
right?
I know. It's crazy.
And then Chet's not playing for OKC. But yeah, and Jabari Smith lately has played much better. He's averaging a little over 12 and a half a game. Their big guy, Sengun, right? I mean, he's pretty good. So on paper, they probably have more of a foundation. But what you hear on Twitter, and the Houston writer said it's not really as bad as you think. It almost seems toxic on that team. I mean, I saw, what's his name? Silas, their head coach.
Yeah, well, Kevin Porter Jr. is a very nice piece on that team as well.
Yeah.
I don't know, because hell, looking from the outside in, even sitting here in Detroit, it kind of seems like it's toxic.
Yes.
Like just in the Pistons locker room. And I don't mean it by they have bad seeds or anything, but it just seems like losing is becoming contagious in that locker room.
And in Houston, absolutely. And then they're not here. There's none of that. It just
no, I'm not saying, but I'm saying it just seems like toxic from a basketball player's world. That you come here and it seems like you lose. Like, and eventually you have to learn how to win, right?
Correct.
And so you got young guys. The Pistons are all young.
Right.
All they know is losing. And so my question is, how do you get that out of their heads? Is it as simple as winning early on in the year and getting some?
I think so. And I think the Pistons, to compare the two, and I'm not going to say the Pistons are ahead of them, because Houston, I think, is a little bit ahead of them.
Only because their guys are on the floor.
Right. The fact that Kate Cunningham isn't playing just changed the whole dynamic of this season.
It did. No, I don't know.
It's no excuse for as bad as they've been. However, once that happens, you sit there and realistically, as an organization, say, all right, there's no way we're making the playoffs with him. Let's just focus on individual player development, in which we talked to John Beeline about last podcast. And that's what they're focusing on. And in some other cases, it's been good. Others, not as good.
Yeah, and I guess the question still remains is, who there are you concentrating on in Detroit that you can really still bring up on this team, right? You got your guys that you drafted, obviously, but there's a lot of guys on this team that don't have a future with the Pistons. Like, are you wasting your time trying to develop these Rodney Magruders, Isaiah Livers type guys?
Isaiah Livers, I think, is going to be on the team next year, because he's not.
He plays defense.
Right, exactly. He's not an all defensive team guy, but at least he plays defense. I think he should be shooting better than he is, but he hasn't. So, what does that mean? They're going to bring back, Bogey. Yes, I think they have to bring him back.
Yeah, well, yeah, because then he's another great trade piece. If things start rolling for you and you can keep getting younger, but I mean, he's their shining star this year.
Right. The question, do they bring back Wiseman and Bagley? I mean, are they trying to figure out what to do with them? They both show spurts of, okay, we got something here, and you pair him up with Duren.
And then Isaiah Stewart, and those are your four bigs. I don't have a problem with that at all.
No.
At all.
Four bigs, nobody else.
Yeah. No, that's it.
Right.
You stay with those guys. I don't need any more project bigs coming in. I don't need another Newell, another Okafor. I don't need any of that kind of stuff. Yes.
The draft comes off. Well, unless you get Victor, and he's a big guy. But
sure. But
that's different.
And he's not your typical big.
Correct.
I mean, have you seen these highlights this week? They've been playing again. He's going floor to floor. I mean, dude, he's so good. And I want to see him play against NBA players.
Right.
That's what I wonder, because there was also a clip of Big Vic getting backed down by a big dude and getting owned. And this was probably a month ago or so. And I'm like, man, if he gets the wrong matchup in the NBA, they're all going to go after this kid.
Oh, right.
Like, he's going to be Yao Ming, Sean Bradley, like those guys. Like,
but he's not going to.
He ain't going to be under the rim, I don't think.
No, he's going to be a 4 who's going to play
and do some help side D.
Yeah, he's not going to be your. When they go up playing against a team that has a really good center, if they're even.
Yeah, you treat him like Noel with Kansas State when he got hurt. You hide him defensively.
Yes.
Like, right? You switch, you do all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But man, so now that we've talked about where the rebuilds are coming, who do you personally believe is further along to actually compete, Houston or Detroit?
It's a guess, but I'm going to say Houston. only because of what we've seen on the floor now. Kevin Porter Jr. is kind of a wild card here.
He
as
is,
far as
because
in the
there's
locker
sometimes
room.
he's like awesome, and other times you're like, oh my God, get
I
this
know.
guy
And
out of
he
here.
supposedly he's not the greatest dude in the locker room and all that. And our wild card is just the health.
Yeah, it's Cade.
And the other thing is, going ahead, and not to project too far ahead, but hypothetically, they have the second pick in the draft. Everything I'm reading, and even the little highlights I've seen, and you've watched him more than I have on Scoot, is the guy is going to be an all-star.
He's
gonna
legit,
be a
man.
Great player. Great. Loves the game. Not going to be an issue off the court either. The question is, what do you do? Because you try to get whatever you can for Killian, obviously.
Sure, but
he is going to be, he's an on-ball, a guy with the ball, right? That's what he does. You got Cade Cunningham, same type of player. Henderson's probably a better shooter.
Same with Jade.
And then you got Ivy. That's that's why they better win the draft. Or do they sit there and say, wait a second,
can we get more assets for this kid?
We have more assets, or wait a second, we need a wing, a big wing. Miller from Alabama. But then you have the
he lost me in the tournament, man. And on the biggest stage, he crapped the bed.
I know.
And crapped the bed. I mean, listen.
Well, the first game he got hurt, he hardly played.
Sure,
right?
But you're gonna get attention on you for your bad play, just as bad as what's going on with the situation in Alabama.
Right.
People are gonna question you game in and game out. If you can't handle that pressure, I'm understanding that's a different kind of pressure of murder compared to playing bad on the basketball court.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not saying that's what made him play bad, but I guarantee you that had something to do with it. Thinking, forcing. And I don't know if that kind of kid is going to fit in what they're trying to do here in Detroit. But he is a top 5 kid in this draft, flat out. I mean,
well, let me ask you a question. Crossover here a little bit. Jalen Carter. If you approve of the Lions taking Jalen Carter, then shouldn't you approve of the Pistons taking Miller?
So I guess my thing is with Jalen Carter is I understand his situation. I don't necessarily agree with the whole he gained 9 pounds and he ran this cone drill bad. Who am I to say that NFL teams aren't saying we want to get you a little bit bigger, gain that weight?
Right.
We don't know what's going on there. I also saw that kid dominate on the biggest stage, holding dudes with one arm while celebrating.
Yeah.
I didn't see Brandon Miller do that on the biggest stage.
Correct.
That's what worries me. And I don't know. I mean, he's one hell of a basketball player, and you get the right minds. We also don't know who's going to be coaching this team in 2023, right? In 2024.
There's a chance Casey's back.
There is. There actually legitimately is because of what happened.
Right. And you can honestly say, you know what? It's not fair to, for us to pay for 2 coaches because he's under contract, right?
And I think Dwayne Casey would be a great mentor for a kid like Brandon Miller. If it's a new coach, a first-time coach, somebody like that, I don't know what they would even look at, Stoney. We have no inclination of what they would do. But I'm saying if it's an older, wiser, been around the block type coach like Dwayne Casey, I think a kid like him could work here.
Yeah.
If it's a newer guy, a developmental guy, or somebody that's just maybe doesn't have the reputation that Dwayne Casey does, I would maybe stay away from him. But we'll find those things out coming up, which I'm excited about because this year it was a flat out dud. It was.
So there's no reason to even root against the Pistons the rest of the way because they have the same.
No, and get them some wins, get them some confidence.
Yeah.
I know, on your morning show, you guys played, we're going to go back to the Lions, and you had Michael Brockers talking about being humble and hungry, right? Don't read your press clippings. This is the opposite way. You might be more humble, more hungry now that you've lost, now that you know what it feels like, now that you have been the team that NBA teams don't have to play their best players against and they still can easily win. Maybe that goes a long way. Some kids, I know it with Michael Jordan, anything you could, if he could find motivation, he was taking it. The motivation's there, dude.
Yes.
You guys have 16 wins. You're 1 in 18 in the last 19. If that doesn't motivate you, then you're not an NBA player.
Yes. By the way, you have your 2 last chances to see the Pistons at the LCA coming up Monday and Wednesday.
Who do we got?
We got the Miami Heat on Monday.
Go see Jimmy Butler and Bam.
If they're going to even play, but they're fighting for playoff position.
Well,
and more importantly, maybe
see him on the bench.
Joey Chestnut will be there.
Dude, That's
He's a
exciting.
great
Coney
athlete.
dogs,
He's a
right?
great athlete. Yeah, absolutely.
I wonder how many Coney dogs that guy can get down in 10 minutes.
And also on Wednesday, the home finale against the Brooklyn Nets. You get to see Spencer Dinwiddie and Mikal Bridges, right?
Yeah, and then you can see Ben Simmons back, literally, figuratively, because he's not playing.
And former classmate of my daughter, Nick Claxton, ladies and gentlemen, from the University of Georgia for her one semester.
Oh, look at them.
Exactly.
Small world. Who would have thunk?
Yes. And then they go on the road, finish in Chicago and in Indiana. All right. We will be back next week. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And thank you for listening. We really do appreciate it. And this is the first time we've been on video. So
yeah,
thank you for not throwing like eggs at the TV screen.
Well, it'd be their own TV if they do it. So you're screwing yourself over.
Or your own computer.
Yeah.
More importantly, I think most
yeah,
people...
just see us in public. Throw eggs at us in public.
Exactly. See you later. It's Restore the Floor.